The justice system for those who want to take on insurance companies or big business has become difficult in Texas. Unfair tort reform laws have closed the courthouse doors to the most vulnerable in our society, including the elderly and children. You need competent legal representation when it comes to serious accidents and if you have suffered harm from a drug product or medical device. Joe Flores can help. Backed by 20 years as a medical professional and as a trial lawyer, Joe Flores can evaluate your claim. The law offices of Joe Flores, equal justice for all.
And we're back after a brief break. You're listening and watching Joe Flores on South Texas Crossfire. Special thanks to the Lopez family, my good friend Carlos Lopez running that station. And we miss his dad very much. May he rest in peace. You are not forgotten. Don Humberto Lozano Lopez, the founder of KTMB, who makes this happen. And to get out our message. And also my good friend, his brother, Ernest Primetime Lopez. Special thanks to them and all the Lopez family, the only family station owned and operated here in Corpus Christi anymore. So we are reaching people out here and the San Pat. And also don't forget we're on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And also now in Laredo and soon to be in Houston, Texas. And so we are reaching out. With me today, joining me back again from the break is Rosa Pizzi for CC Ministries. And welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you for having us here.
Well, and we were just talking on the break. There's so much information for those out there that say homelessness is not my problem. People just need to pull themselves up by their own bootstraps, be self-reliant. I'm tired of giving to people, and I have to bear the tax burden. I've got to pay for all this. What do you tell people that have the mindset that, and you know, they're entitled to their opinion, but I think they're uneducated about this issue, that say, I don't want to give to a bunch of bums?
You're absolutely right. And for the most part, many of these people have experienced things in their lives that you wouldn't want anyone to experience. Oftentimes, they have to learn to trust you. And I think that's what all of us as providers try to do, is let them know that we're here to help. Mm-hmm. It's not easy when you're schizophrenic and you have no medications because you can't afford them. To be able to hold a conversation and let us know what's going on in your world so that we can help you. We require all of our shelter residents to be on their medications. If they're on their meds, they're functional. Many of them can go back to work. They're actually intelligent and very creative. They just don't have that support system. So we can't don't judge them just because you think they're bums. Oftentimes, they're not. They've had some extraordinary circumstances in their lives. And sometimes I say to people, you know, when it's safer to be on the streets than to be at home, it's a sad situation, but that's what happens to many of them. I think that we're, as a community, coming together. I've worked with homeless populations in other parts of the country, and we need to find what's going to work for Corpus Christi. And I can tell you there are many groups that are coming together to talk about this now. That includes our police department, the mayor's office, the Homeless Issues Partnership, the Uptown Neighborhood Initiative, the Downtown Business District, all the major stakeholders. That means all the other providers. And we're going to get the community involved because we have to address the people that you see on the streets all the time. We have no night shelter here. There are some folks that are not ready to go into a shelter. They're just not ready. But they need a place to bed down at night, get a shower, get something to eat, and not be at somebody's front door, either sleeping or urinating. Because that would, of course, anger anybody, especially our downtown business people. It's costing the police department and sheriff's office thousands of dollars to put these people in jail when that's not what they need.
$80 a day. I mean,
you
know, minimum. And that's not counting medical care.
Right.
That's just to feed and house them in the jail, which is over-flooded. Kalen said the same thing. Chief Riggs said the same thing.
It cost us $7.30 a day to shelter and feed somebody.
So a tenth
or
of the cost of what it costs the taxpayer.
We have homeless families out there living in their cars, living under bridges, again, costing you because those children are not getting well educated. They're not, you know, they don't have a stable lifestyle. That's gonna affect them. It's not what the parents want, but what are they going to do if they don't have a shelter for homeless families, if we don't have one? So we want to address those issues because we see all of the excitement about the development in the downtown area. So how are we going to help these people move to self-sufficiency, these families move to self-sufficiency? Obviously, we have a gap in services, and we need to address that. And I think with all the stakeholders coming together, we can come up with a solution that works for Corpus Christi. We can look at what other cities are doing, what is going to work for us to make this a great place to come. That we can have all of these other tourist attractions for folks that will help increase the tax base and lower taxes for, let's say, homeowners. You know, that's something I look forward to, okay, as a homeowner. And I think that's really important. And I think two of the most important things we can do, in my perspective, and all that I have read about these populations, I think there's two very important key issues. One is education, and the other is affordable housing. Many of these people have had to leave school for various reasons. They had to help support their parents. The parents got ill. Instead of being able to finish high school, they had to go to work. Never got to finish that education. Could get a GED. Could get into Del Mar, get a skill, and move forward. If someone would just let them know that that's available to them, and affordable housing. And I'm talking affordable housing that is not substandard. For many of these families, that's the key. I think that our survey showed that about 58% of the people on the street were actually working full time.
It's amazing. I mean,
they
people
just don't
realize.
have a place to go at night, to sleep, to get some help, to be able to put their money away so that they can get into a home.
I mean,
and that's what our program. That's what our programs do. We don't charge for any of our services, but they're required to work and are volunteer. Because if I have a pregnant mom, she's not going to be able to work until she delivers. But she'll volunteer at Metro Ministries with many things until that baby is born, and then it's daycare, and then job training or some training program, so that mom or that male can also, the males in Rustic House, do the same thing. They have to work. So they're not there during the day. They're working. And they're putting away 70% of their money. The 30% they learn to budget. It's their money when they move out. We help them with furniture. We help them set up their homes. But then they're on their own, and they know how to budget that money. They know where to go for help. We know that they're tied to a medical home. For many of the homeless, they're going to use the emergency room. How much does that cost us?
Oh, boy. You know, a couple of thousand minimum.
Right.
And when they come in and not get preventative care.
Exactly. At Gabbard, if they come in for minor medical care, that saves you all that money in emergency dollars, emergency room use. And we're able to take care of that person and help them get a more permanent medical home. They may be qualified for a clinic card or Medicaid or CHIP for their children. They just don't know.
Well, let me ask you this on the medical, do you have a physician, nurse practitioners, PAs that volunteer their time?
We have some wonderful volunteer physicians. I think we have 12 altogether.
Oh, my goodness.
Two are optometrists, so we do an eye clinic for adults once a month. And if you ever wonder what happened to those eyes you donate to the Lions Club, they're there with us. They have the glasses. The doctor prepares a prescription. They go to the room with the Lions Club. They find a pair of glasses that matches that. The doctor checks it. It doesn't cost these adults anything. They can then see to work to fill out a job application. For children, we have an optometrist that volunteers to examine the eyes of the children. And for children, we buy new glasses. That's critical that they are able to see well if we want them to be able to read well and see the board, and stay up with their class. So that's important. And we have wonderful volunteer nurses, pharmacists that help explain to the patients what the medication is for and how it helps them. And we get some good dietitians in to talk with the folks that are diagnosed with diabetes or have the first symptoms of diabetes.
Well, and ladies and gentlemen out there, and of course the numbers appearing on the screen, but we also play this sometimes on radio, so I like to announce it to 887-0151 if you want to give, or ccmetro.org. Let's talk about where some of the money goes, the budget. You know, money is important for how to operate this. If somebody says, look, I'm making $400 a week, I'm willing to write Rosa and CC Metro Ministries a $50 check. Where does my money go?
Well, for $50, I can prepare about 50 hot meals.
50 meals.
I can pay for someone's room and board for two or 3 weeks.
How do you do that with $50?
Well,
you're a magician.
We are. Well, we're a nonprofit. We have to do things magically.
Right.
Because we're very efficient with what we do and how we do it. And remember, my shelters are open 24/7. We can't leave women and children there alone. We can't leave these men there alone. There has to be somebody on shift. We have an emergency. A mother could want to deliver a baby in the middle of the night. So we have to be able to have somebody there all the time. And our shelters are open 24/7. Loaves and Fishes serve 7 days a week. I think 88 cents out of every dollar is used for direct services.
There you go. And the rest, administrative.
Administrative. Somebody's got to be the brains of the operation.
Right.
And I can tell you that we are very efficient with our dollars. We've had wonderful audits over the past 4 years. No management letters. Contract compliance is one of my strong points. So we're always in line with our contracts, especially our state and government contracts. They're very specific about what they want you to do, and that's real important because I want everyone to know that we're very good stewards of their dollars.
Well, good, and we've got about 3 minutes left, and I want to always give people closing arguments, as I like to call it, as to, you're on the stump. This is the time. Ladies and gentlemen out there, a lot of things that didn't even occur to me that I take for granted. We're saying, well, great, we've got the kids for the summer. Those that are barely struggling, can't afford daycare. Sometimes their daycare costs as much as they're making.
Yeah.
And then they have a child, maybe with special needs, maybe not, and the school was providing that function for 9 months. Right. And now more than ever, you need the money.
We need that, and we also need to know the families who are having problems with adequate nutrition, that anyone can have a meal at Loaves and Fishes, and we try to serve a very balanced meal there. Secondly, I just want to say that if you really want to see what we do and where we do it, we have tours every second and fourth Tuesday from 12 to 1. We'll take 1 hour of your time, give you a tour of what we do so you can see the facilities and see where your money is going. And you just call and let us know that you want to come on a tour, and we can take about 20 to 25 per tour. And people have been very impressed with the facilities because they're so clean. They have to be clean. When you're running facilities with people inside, you have to make sure that you're as germ-free as possible. So that everybody has to have a TB test and those kinds of things when you have congregant living. They can ask questions, and we certainly want their input because it's their money that is supporting us. They can give us their input. So they're welcome to come on a tour. And they can come every second or fourth Tuesday, and just give us a call. Let us know you want to come, so we can make sure that we have space, and we provide a bag lunch for everybody. It's what we give our folks that go to work, so that they have lunch until they get their first paycheck. And everybody's just impressed about the fact that of not only what we do, but of who we serve, because normally they don't come to this side of town. And they're not aware. And if anything else, we've raised awareness of the need in Corpus Christi and how we want to work to resolve it. We really want to reduce poverty. We really want to reduce the number of homeless. And we need everybody's input and help to do it.
Well, and I want to underline to everybody out there that are business owners, that are conservative, that are liberal, that homelessness affects everyone. And I want everybody out there to call 887-0151. Take advantage of the tours every second and fourth Tuesday. It's called Tuesdays with Metros. We start at 12, so you can get there. It's in the Loaves and Fishes. We have a room called the Gathering Place, and that's where we meet. And we'll start the tour from there. It's 1 hour. We take no more than 1 hour. Parking. Our parking lot should be finished, and Central Office Supply is getting their building painted. You won't have a hard time finding it. It's just a half a block down. You can park there or make a left on Doss and park at the city produce lot. So we have adequate parking space for everybody. We're trying to get another building adjacent to us. We'll come down so we can have another parking lot. Parking's kind of difficult along Leopard Street. Well, I want to thank you for coming by.
It's my pleasure.
I'm telling you, I mean, this is something that impacts all of us and helps protect our children, our elderly, the most vulnerable in our society. And I truly believe that how we treat our most vulnerable is a really direct reflection on our society. And we say America is #1 and is great. Let's prove it that way, because we know 25% of people are homeless or they're at risk for food.
At risk. Inadequate food.
Inadequate food.
Food insecure. And a lot of those are elderly, and you would be surprised at how many elderly, homeless elderly we have come through our shelters.
So everybody help out there, 887-0151, please help, and ccministries.org, or CC Metro, forgive me, ccmetro.org, and that number and the information is appearing in front of your screen. Rose Pizzi, we're going to take a break, and then when we come back, we're going to bring on Catholic Ministries. We're also trying to get people involved in all of that when we come back. Thank you. God bless.
The justice system for those who want to take on insurance companies or big business has become difficult in Texas. Unfair tort reform laws have closed the courthouse doors to the most vulnerable in our society, including the elderly and children. You need competent legal representation when it comes to serious accidents and if you have suffered harm from a drug product or medical device. Joe Flores can help. Backed by 20 years as a medical professional and as a trial lawyer, Joe Flores can evaluate your claim. The law offices of Joe Flores, equal justice for all.
Attention! Was your child born with a birth defect? Some prescription drugs taken during pregnancy have been linked to birth defects, including antidepressants Paxil, Zoloft, Prozac, Wellbutrin, and Lexapro. Also, prescription-strength pain relievers containing codeine, such as Vicodin and Tylenol 3 with codeine. If you or your loved ones took any of these prescription drugs while pregnant and your child was born with a birth defect, call nurse practitioner and attorney Joe Flores at 887-8670. That's 887-8670. Call today.